every breath you take and every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. Every single day and every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you. Oh, can't you see? You belong to me. How my poor heart aches with every step you take, every move you make, every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you. Since you've gone, I've been lost without a trace. I dream at night, I can only see your face. I look around, but it's you I can't replace. I feel so cold, I long for your embrace. I keep crying, baby, baby, please. Oh, can't you see? You belong to me. How my poor heart aches with every step you take, every move you make, and every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you. Every move you make, every step you take, I'll be watching you. I'll be watching you. I'll be watching you. I'll be watching you. Every move you make and every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you. I'll be watching you. I'll be watching you. I'll be watching you.
Every step you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. That doesn't seem like a desirable expression for anyone. And that's something I learned as a teenager. My previous message during this series had me referencing a college girlfriend. This message has me recalling a high school girlfriend. We shared the same part-time job, worked as bank tellers. They had hired a number of teenagers, all of them girls except me. That worked out pretty well. And one of the girls and I began dating. We had gone on a few dates, we had gotten to know each other. She was smart, talented, but it just didn't seem like we were a match. And so I ended it. Or so I thought. Because the phone at my house began to ring before there was caller ID. And whenever I would pick it up, the caller would hang up. This would happen over and over again. And then one day I was out in front of my house when a car drove by. It was her car. It was her checking to see if I was there. We had a word for it back then, creeper. We have a different word for it now, stalker. And if I wasn't entirely certain, when we were both working at the bank on the same day, my station just across from hers, she gave me this expression. That's not an expression that seems desirable to anyone. And even if you have not had a creeper or a stalker, you have definitely had a watcher. Maybe a parent or friend that watch where you are, that want to track your phone, that want a sense of you at all times. They want to make sure you're going to the places you should be going. They want to make sure you're not doing the things you should not be doing. Or perhaps it's a coach or a boss that is watching over your shoulder to make sure that you are accomplishing the goals they set for you. You are doing the things that they asked of you. And that is not an experience in which we delight because it seems to be the experience of judgment. Somebody watching us inevitably means somebody judging us, assessing our behavior, determining our value. It's the reason that Sting was surprised this song was so popular. It's been hailed as one of the great love songs of all time. And that made no sense to Sting. It was recognized as the most played song on the radio for 30 years. And he didn't quite understand that. Because the song is exactly what you just heard. It is the ballad of a stalker. It is somebody who is upset about a broken relationship. Somebody who is watching a person with whom they were once connected. The backstory of the song is fascinating. Sting wrote it in half an hour. He wrote this song in the midst of some personal turmoil. He and his wife lived across the street from his wife's best friend. Or at least she was his wife's best friend until Sting had an affair with her. An affair that broke up his marriage, devastated his children, and led to marriage with this other woman and more children. And in the midst of that drama, Sting decided that he needed to get away. And while he was away, he wrote this song. Every step you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. You do not need a doctorate in psychology to understand what was going on with Sting and the experience he was having. And it's affected a lot of his perception, not only about others, but even about God. Sting will claim to be an agnostic, that he really doesn't know if God exists or not. If he does, he doesn't want to have anything to do with him because he is disturbed by the concept of a God who watches you, who sees what you're doing, who just sits in judgment over your every move. And maybe that's your sense of God, that he is the God of this song, that he is a God who just judges every move you make, who determines whether or not you are measuring up to his standard. And more often than not, finds that you don't. If only God had a song. He does. Actually, he's got an entire body of work, and he's got an album called the Psalms. And the 139th track of that album has some fascinating verses. In 139, it says, "O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all my ways." If Sting ripped off anybody for the song, it was God. You have searched me. You know me. When I lie down, when I rise up, you watch and see everything that's going on. Maybe the vocalist for this song is just as disturbed as Sting was. Because it goes on, where can I go from you? Where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you're there. If I go down to the depths, you're there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea. It seems like the same kind of song. That angst, that frustration. That if anybody's watching us, it is God more than anyone. And yet the response to all those verses, wherever I go, your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. That's a different expression. That's an unexpected lyric. The vocalist of that song believes that watching is not judgment. Watching is something entirely different. And to understand it, we really need to understand those lyrics, those verses. If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, if I go down even to death, you are there. We can understand this song because we've read the entire body of work. We find him in the heavens. We find him in the depths. It is a declaration of God who is attached to us no matter what. A God who came from heaven to earth to watch over us. Not just in judgment, to declare that we messed up and did not measure up, but a God who came in attachment, who became one of us, who took our sin on himself, who died on a cross for what it is that we had done wrong. That is the description. In the heavens, you are there. In death, you are there. He is in every place. And the testimony of every other lyric is that he is watching us. The declaration is that for what was set before him, even the verse before that, fix your eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of your faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross. He is watching you. From the cross, he saw you. He died for you. Watching is this experience of attachment. If you learn nothing else, and you will learn many things here, it is that description of God that even more than a God of judgment, even though we do sin and mess up, and we do not deserve to be with him, he is a God of attachment. He is a God who binds himself to us and remains with us through everything. Heaven and hell, whatever it takes to be near us. And if you're not sure, the last lyric in that song, search me, O God. Watch me. See every step I take and every move I make. Know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. And see if there be any grievous way. That's a weird word. Any grievous way. See if there is anything in me that would wander away from you. And lead me in the way everlasting. That's a love song. That is a much different sense of what love is. Not an overwhelming judgment, but a defining attachment. That high school girlfriend may have struggled with that concept. Sting may not have understood the meaning of that. But we have a much better song that changes everything. Every step you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. And because of the cross, that's a desirable expression for everyone. In his name and for his name's sake, amen.